Let's finish up our conversation about using the StratGap tools by looking at the theoretical case. And our simulated case is RealSim. It's a realistic simulated case. It is a software company specializing in training and safety programs for corporate clients. And the company is considering an overseas expansion, and they are looking at following their clients to Asia. So let's take a look at what the top half of their Goblins worksheet would look like. The goal would be to set up a RealSim branch in China. It's going to provide 50 to 70% of the company's revenues in 10 years. The ideal business structure for RealSim's new business would be a strategic partnership, and they are looking for a local partner who has the ability to provide business and marketing support and to run an independent R&D effort. The managerial implication is we will be relying on a single exclusive partnership, so it's important that we find the right counterparty first. If we negotiate with too many people, we risk giving away valuable information to a potential competitor. Okay, so let me just step out of role here, and now I'll be the instructor again. Now, the goal statement here, I said specifically 5 to 10 words. I want you to keep it simple and specific. So there isn't room for a whole lot of discussion. I inserted the description and the implication for us, and this is something that you will be discussing with your teammates in private. But the yield will be that simple, short goal statement that everyone is going to understand and everyone will be able to talk about. So now that we know the overall business goal, we can focus on our objective for this negotiation. We're looking for a partner that we can grow with, but someone who already has sales and marketing networks in place. This is what the decision makers have decided is the part of the overall goal that they are focusing on in this negotiation. So they'll be speaking to international lawyers about trademarks and copyrights. They'll be speaking to investment people about funding this. They'll be talking to stakeholders back home about what the move will mean to them. But in this negotiation that they're preparing for, they will only be talking about finding a partner that they can grow with in China. So towards that end, they are putting together notes on the description of an ideal partner. And that's someone who's already in the educational software business and looking to upsell. And there's a managerial implication here, too, for the decision makers. And they have to make sure that they are not training their own competition. So their next step is to put together the list of variables that's going to support this objective. Variables are the pieces of the puzzle that put together the picture of what my goal is or what my objective is. So in this case, the RealSim management has started with a broad list of variables or deal points, and they built this after discussing what a successful branch will be doing in 1 year. So they started off with the assumption that it is a year from now, and they have a branch in Shanghai, or if that's where they decided, and they're looking back at what their branch has been doing successfully for the last year. And the activities are marketing and research and development. Those are the key activities they want this new branch to provide. They want it to do sales, and they want to develop and support new products in Asia. The third area they're going to be looking for is funding. They want to know how much it's going to cost and how much they're going to have to pay and what they're going to have to give up, not just in terms of money, but also in terms of power and control. And this is going to yield a whole discussion within their company, and it's going to be a big part of the negotiation. And the same goes for control, who's calling the shots and how are those shots being called. And for the breakup, in America, when you negotiate a contract, you always talk about dissolution. You always talk about how to walk away. And I don't see that enough in international contracts. So I want you to at least discuss this internally. How do you see this contract ending? How do you see this partnership running its course? And there off to the right is giving up intellectual property. What is the significance of giving up intellectual property sitting off there to the right? Because it's off the table. This is not on the table. It's off the table, which means it's something you're not going to discuss. And you have to be willing to walk away if you are not getting the answers you want. And in China, a lot of Western negotiators think that if they dig in, they'll be able to wear down the other side. And it just doesn't work that way. And finally, we look at BATNA, and that's the best alternative to no agreement. And their BATNA is to continue to operate out of the U.S. and fly in teams to Asia as needed. And then they discussed the BATNA a little bit. They said, we will develop a better network in China and consider strengthening our position by developing contacts in Southeast Asia, specifically Thailand and Singapore. In the short term, however, we will have to forego potential opportunities in Asia since our research indicates that clients expect heavy localization and customization of educational software. So as RealSim set out their strategic gap in this analysis, we learned a couple of things. We learned that finding the right partner was going to be absolutely crucial for them. But there's a risk here because they're very sensitive about their intellectual property and protecting that. And the more people they speak to, the more they put their intellectual property at risk. They need to, first of all, find and vet the right potential partner. And then they have to build the right relationship so that not only can they get the deal, but they can also do the business. Thanks very much. I'll talk to you again soon.